Hey, this is a follow-up on our briefing, on our plan on how to storm Moscow or defend Moscow in the third round of this year's 2021 Panzer Corps tournament. And we got that set up now here in our computer room, and you can already see in comparison, where's the tree? Where has it gone? It has gone away. And this is the pain with those setups. And the funny thing now is, on an emotional level, just something to consider with the entire Panzer Corps community. Reactions are mixed. We got some reactions on that, on the last video that only a trusted group of people got. We got positive reactions and we got critical reactions, like the audio is slightly out of sync. You can say that, but you got to mix it up with a positive. So this really hits home and is not a negative response. Because then the same happens that already happened numerous times in the Panzer Corps community. It's a roller coaster ride. For everybody who's investing time, it's a roller coaster ride of people not being interesting, not being responsive, not valuing your achievements, your investments, your knowledge, your experience. They just drag it down. You can see it in the forum when we, the veterans, the elite, we ran through a one-year tournament and made it to the top. And you still got people who are entirely new to the scene and they just explain things, or even better, they talk back. They need to shut their mouths and let the pros do the work, apply their knowledge. We gotta march in the same direction here, and then we can make it great. But with all that pluses and minuses, the result is zero. It's roughly around zero and nothing happens. And the same applies to those videos. And our good man, one of our best men in the US, Andreas de Grosse, he told me that he likes the setup here. He likes how professional it looks. And this is why on the technical part, I just want to give him and all of you the feedback on how this comes together and where the problems are. Because this is the thing, look at the window. It's gone. We got great weather outside. You cannot see the beautiful tree. You cannot see the rest of leaves hanging on it. You cannot see the beauty outside. It's just white. It looks awful. And this is where all the technicality comes in, because that's a dynamic range issue, right? Dynamic range is the range from the darkest to the lightest part of your image. This is how much the camera sensor can get of information. Now we need to color grade it. We need the 10 bits. That camera cannot do 10 bits and all of that. Now what I'm gonna do is, I'm not gonna care for that. We don't have time for that. But what we can do is look at how this picture comes together, because you see it looks nice because compared to a webcam or a smartphone, the background is slightly blurred, and it's also a very, very nice looking lens. It looks soft, it looks organic. And of course we like that, right? It enables a better visual, and also it seems more as if you are here. This is just how our eyes work. It's easy on the eyes. So what I'm gonna do still, this is a very sharp lens. This is the lens I use outside. And it produces the same picture with the edges. It has the same focal length. And I want just to switch it out, and you tell me if you really see a difference to that lens that is attached right here. And you're gonna see the lens then. So take a close look. Don't worry, everything's good. No, it only says it's the same in terms of width of the lens, but it is not. It definitely is not. interesting enough, you can see the mic that is coming in here. So we have a way to tell that this is not exactly the same picture. And this is the banger that we had on here. This is some sort of vintage lens, which was made for DSLRs. But I'm not gonna bore you with the details. I know how bothersome it is. Funny enough, we now got the concrete wall that I have around the perimeter here. That's real funny. So it looks like it's nebulous outside. That's a positive. I like that. I gotta admit, that is a positive. It looks a little bit dreamy and nebulous outside on an artistic level. Anyways, that's it for that part. I'm not gonna trouble you with any more information, but just tell me how much can you tell the difference. Of course, this is only now on the big screen. If we do it like this, then you probably won't see a difference. But you can tell on the softness. I think it just looks a little bit more warm and, like I said, organic, candid, nice. This makes it nice. This is like that cup of delicious tea where I mix two different brands. Yeah. You tell me. Enough time wasted with this topic. It's just more about the emotional aspect, that if we get back something positive, wonders happen, right? People are happy and they invest more time. If all that stupid talking back and nitpicking, hey, this is not perfect. It's so funny to tell somebody who's a perfectionist all of the time, oh, I can see a little flaw. Oh, it seems, the finish on your car is wearing off. How funny that is, right? It's no use. And then those people wonder why where all the good mood has gone. Yeah, and then it's just negatives. They get on each other's throats and all the good mood is out of the window. Nothing positive happens. So that is that. Emotion covered. Image, we got that also covered. Now to some things that we talked about in the Moscow map. And that is about the weather. First of all, I made a minor mistake, and since I talked about it, I can remember it. It's no problem, right? We make errors, and it's unfortunately it's just a minor one. It was about the bike placement, where you can, of course, you just need to make sure that two hexes are between them. So I got ahead of myself into turn 2 with the bikes where you can position them. That was just a minor thing, just to clear it up and have mentioned it. I know it's hard to understand now. But the other thing is easier to understand, and this is about the AA guns. We bought four big AA guns, the SU6. Right, very mobile, very versatile. We talked about that. They are overstrength to 11. And I told you that you can put them in anti-tank mode when there is bad weather. But here's the problem. In Panzer Corps 2, you don't see the weather forecast as the Russian or as the defender, which is funny, right? Like those Russians, they cannot predict the winter when they are absolutely undefeated. But I know this is not about the reality arguments. This is just how the game works, and I think this should ASAP get sorted out, because it's a huge disadvantage for the defender to not know what is going to happen. And in Panzer Corps 2, this is even harder, because you cannot just put them in anti-tank mode and think everything is good. Your fighters, when there is bad weather, the attacker sees that there is bad weather. He knows it. It says it is raining, it is snowing. Your aircraft doesn't work. Now here's the trick to that. The defender is thrown into the thick of it, because his planes are at the airfield and cannot cover whenever the weather clears up. In Panzer Corps 1, those guys, they would be where they were, end of story. But here, they are traveling back to the airfield. Next turn, the attacker has great weather, sunshine, Stuka time, and stupid things happen. And you, in the worst case, you got your AA guns in anti-tank mode, and they eat horrendous damage, and that entire front sector crumbles. So you need to keep one AA in AA mode. This is just very important, because this could have been a misunderstanding where people were like, well, great, I'm going to anti-tank mode. He says bad weather anti-tank mode. Yeah, then you are in trouble. So this is why you need two. If you got a mobile force moving around, you need at least two. So you got the air covered all of the time. The other thing is that you need to remember that the aircrafts they will be on the airfield, they won't be there to cover your troops. This is also why I choose so many AA units. There are always people like, yeah, you are choosing so many AA. Yeah, but you want the AA for general purpose as a defender that covers 3 axes. That's very important. For mobile forces, you need AA that covers that mobile units. They need to get covered with the same range. Also, it's just versatility. If you suppress a unit, you can drive around it. Even with the AA, if there are only 3 left, yeah, shoot those 3 at the AA and risk of getting even more suppressed. It's not that bad to do it. So you got, like I said, a lot of versatility, but you need those mobile AAs to cover those mobile forces, and then you need the AAs that shoot on the close defense value of the planes. You know, the planes that are diving down, the planes that need to fly close to the ground to hit something with the MGs. Yeah, you need MGs to answer those, because those are the ones who's really going to make those planes pay for coming down. And those two combined, so you need basically 2 AAs to cover the air. One that shoots on the close defense value, and the other one that also covers you against strategic bombers. If there is no, those MG AAs, those are nice, but if your opponent goes for a strategic bomber, this will really hit bad, especially if it has some stars. This will tip the favor and will get your support units out of the game, out of the equation. So you have to remember, the aircraft, it will be on the airfield, the sky will be empty, and your opponent, when the weather clears up, can do what he wants. And even worse, right before that, there was bad weather. So your opponent could not do anything with those planes. He could not move them to a different airfield. He could not do anything with them, but get them back to full strength. So guess what? Even when you had great success against the Stuka, it is down to 4, maybe 5. Yeah, you did a good job. Now it is snowing. He gets it back up. Next turn, boom, in your face. This is why I don't go for the aircraft as much as a defender, because the counter abilities are pretty limited, and the prestige and all the maintenance that has to go in, they travel back to the airfield heavily damaged. Now they need to be resupplied. That is prestige. Then they're sitting on the airfield. The enemy knows it. He flies it in. 7 are suppressed. Boom, there goes my prestige again. Best case scenario, best that you can get out of that, is his aircrafts have something to do, right? That's the only positive that you can get out of it. And the question really is it worth investing roughly as the same amount of prestige as your opponent into your aircraft, just so you can distract his aircraft? But he can use his. He can use the Stuka. He can still make an impact on the field. You not really as the defender here. If you got defender has aircraft that has also experience, this is a totally different game, of course. If it is on par in terms of the technology, that is great. But in Moscow, you are so outgunned, and so there is such an asymmetry in experience. Experience is the most important unit to get experience are the fighters. This is deciding who has the easier rolls with the hits. So this is just something to keep in mind, that when you see bad weather as a defender, you always got to think, okay, next turn it could be best weather and his aircrafts will be at full strength and hit me hard. Don't risk putting down the AT guns, the AA guns to be AT guns. Don't put them in the AT mode. Just play it safe from there and see what happens with the weather. And there should be an improvement to the game where the defender sees the weather forecast same as the attacker. He should be able to plan that. This is ridiculous. Weather always works in favor of the defender when it is bad weather, apart from, you know, sneaking some units in, but this is covered in the game already. The other part is not. There was something else with the weather and the planes, and this is about planes being on an airfield that where some fighting is happening, or you can sneak in a recon. This is why so many bikes are in the setup. You can sneak by, and a lot of players, for some reason, they like to keep the AA on the airfield. They think this is smart, so no paratroopers can take the airfield. I get it. But the problem is, if a bike or a recon bypasses that the units in front and hits the EAA on the airfield, it really gets a lot of damage. It can entrench to level 3 maximum. This is the maximum it can go, even if it's standing there basically from the start of the game. Yeah, so 2 hits and it is ready to run out. And normally it is totally useless. If it's a bike and a recon that gets by, the 3-star recon in that map, sneaking them by, boom, that AA is gone. You probably even get the airfield. If it's not fully entrenched, you get the airfield. And then, this is why we mention it, you got to understand that the planes on the airfield, they are gone, they are dead, they are falling from the sky when the next turn is rain or snow. So just keep that in mind. If you want to kill aircraft real bad and real hard, just be on the lookout. How will the weather be? This only the attacker can see this, but it's worth the gamble as the defender also. If you can take back an airfield, wait a little bit. If there's possibility, the best way to do it is wait until you think that the most opportune moment is to kill the aircraft out of the sky. Because then it's not only going to the next airfield and useless for 1 turn, that's like just a time penalty, but they are gone. So this is really important and something else to consider. Right. Last on the list is the setup itself. There are 3-star artillery, 3 of those in the Moscow map for the Axis, and you should go with the 21 centimeters on all 3 of them. Don't take the 70 centimeter K18. Just take the big one, and take that in favor of a strategic bomber. And from the prestige that you get on turn 1, you will get prestige. You can buy the strategic bomber and have the setup the same way. Then you just got 1 slot empty for splitting up, or you let one of the recon planes at home and play it as it is. But this is just one thought, because if those two setups clash and you got what we got with the Axis and you got KVs on the other side, you want as many big guns as you can get. And the 4th big gun, the 70 centimeter without experience, that's just there to cover up in the north and really pressure Russian artillery, just to make sure that the Russians do not win that counter battery fire war. And when we talk about counter battery fire, always keep in mind that it will not shoot at a unit that it cannot see, but also counter battery sometimes gets revealed when it is shooting. I don't know how that happens. I think it is when it is bad weather, the bunkers who got 4 range, they go down to 2 range. But their real range to see is still 4 hexes in the background, right, of the game code. And when an artillery gives counter battery fire in between the 2 and the 4 hexes, so it's standing outside of your range to see, as the defender you cannot see it, but when it is giving counter battery fire, its position gets not only revealed, but it stays in your view. It stays outside of the fog of war. It goes away and you can see it. You could even consider this a bug. It's hard to tell, but this is how it works. So from that moment on forward, you can see it and you will get the prediction that it will shoot and all of that. Otherwise you won't. So always remember where the big guns could be and how this could work. This really tips the favor if you're shooting the Katyusha and the Katyusha gets hit by a Mars with 3 stars. That Katyusha has 1 ammo in the next turn, covering your infantry, and is down to, takes damage, 1 or 2, and it's down to 3 more suppressed. It's down to 5 of those still covering your infantry. Does that sound exciting? 1 shot of 5? It's nothing. So be very, very cautious with those units firing. Also, because when they are driving in and shoot, they don't get the entrenchment value. So in the next turn, let's say they are standing in the city, they got 4 they got 4 entrenchment to cover them a little bit more against the big gun firing at it. But when you're driving it in and you're shooting and get counter battery fired, it's on 0 entrenchment. So it takes a lot more damage. So this is it with the rest of what crossed my mind and what I had to get off my chest in terms of the gaming experience on that map. And probably our trusted guy here, our loyal comrade here, he is preoccupied. So maybe I can get in a turn and show you this also. Don't be disappointed if it is in German, because I got guys here too who want a little bit of love, you know, they want a little bit of confirmation. And yeah, if you see how the game progresses, you can still tell. So I think this is a good trade-off where everybody gets a little bit of rub and everything is taken care of. So you know what's up. I see you around. Stay healthy and strong and all the best. Bye. Hey, I need to do this on the screen. Yeah.